Okay, so hello and welcome back to another Unity tutorial. In this next part of the item tutorial series that a lot of people have been enjoying and asking for more of, we'll be doing item destroying or item dragging, dropping, whatever. So in games, in most MMOs and most RPGs in general, you can either do one or the other. You can destroy or drop an item depending on the type of game it is. So usually for multiplayer online games like World of Warcraft, for example, if you drag an item out of your inventory, it'll ask you, do you wish to destroy this, just to make sure you do want to. Or in games like single player RPGs like Skyrim perhaps, you are allowed to drop your item physically into the world when you drag it out your inventory. I mean, in Skyrim you don't drag it out your inventory, you more like go into the inventory menu and press drop on it, I think. It's been a while since I played, but the point is there's two different ways, and I know people are going to want the two different ways. So this video, at least, I'm just going to show the item destroying, which would be the most common one for games, where you drag it out of your inventory and then it detects that, and it's like, hey, are you sure you wish to destroy blah blah item? Press OK or press cancel. If you press OK, then it goes away, and if you press cancel, it doesn't. It's a very common thing to have, to be able to like get stuff out of your inventory without cluttering up the world. And also, if you were going for the whole dropping system, you would need models for everything, and then need to build a like item pickup system where when you drop an item, it spawns in a prefab and then sets the model. It's a lot more work, and all it really means is like you can clutter up the environment a bit more. I don't know. I'm happy with this system. If people really want the dropping system, then you could ask for it, or you could try and make it yourself, because it uses this very similar system. And then instead of doing the destroying part, you just instantiate a prefab and set it up. So yeah, I'm just going to show you quickly what it's going to look like on my project where I'm going to be using it from, because this is how I did it originally, and then we can get into actually making it. So as you see here, I'm in my RPG, I've picked up some items, and I can click on an item, drag it out of my inventory, release, and then it pops up with a window saying, are you sure you wish to destroy health potion? Now maybe you also want to like display how many health potions you're destroying, because obviously if I drag this stack of 3 out, then you expect 3 to be destroyed, like that stack of 3. It's only the one you drag out. Obviously I have 5 health potions, but you don't want all 5 to be destroyed if you just drag that stack out. So I can press cancel and it's still there, right? Move around, whatever. I can drag it out and I can press yes and it goes away. So that's the whole point of this. So that's what we're going to be making, a system so that when we drag out, it then pops up saying, are you sure you want to destroy basic arrow or speed potion? Also, yeah, you can display the rarity text color if you want like that. That's how I'm going to show you how to do it. You can skip that part if you don't want it to display like that. But yeah, that's what we're going to go build. So I hope you enjoy. Let's get into the video. But of course, I've got to thank my Patreon. So a special thanks to Flow State Games, Average Morning, Thomas Huster, Remy Baldwin, and Phil Bourne. If anyone else is able to help support the community monetarily, then the link in the description below. Otherwise, there's all my social media links if you're willing to help out that way. But apart from that, let's get into it. Okay, so a quick rundown of what I've done off camera. Pretty much nothing. I've just sorted stuff into folders. So I've put the scripts to have events and then items, and inside the items folder, I've put an inventories folder. And just to match that, I've made the namespaces be, for example, daffodino.items.inventories for those ones. So if you're following along, you don't have to do that, but if you want to sort your folders, that's how I've done it. So all the scripts with the word inventory, and that's specific to the inventory, I've put in its own folder. Then anything else I've put out that, and I could do some more sorting elsewhere, but this is mainly for the people who are following by the GitHub projects. Obviously, you'll notice that change if you pull those changes off GitHub. But yeah, GitHub link is in the description below as well, and it was also at the start of the video on screen if you are wanting to look at the code source for this video. Okay, so before we actually get into the coding, we'll do the UI first. I feel like I'll try that way around. Normally we don't do it that way around, but we can try. So we're going to want a canvas on the UI. We've got the inventory canvas normally, which eventually we'll be able to toggle open and close, but for now we'll keep it open. We're going to create another canvas, so we're going to create a UI canvas. Now this canvas is going to have to render on top of this one. Even though it's below it on the hierarchy, which normally means rendering on top, you've got to make sure the actual rendering order on here is higher on the canvas. Now if they both have the same rendering order, then yes, this will go on top, but if you really want to control a number to be to have more control, because when we bring up other panels in the game and stuff, you want this to go over that pretty much always. So I'm going to call it the destroy item canvas, and I'm going to say it got graphic raycaster, it's scale screen size just like the rest, so you put in your resolution here, so 1920 by 1080, match height, and for the rendering order. I'm just going to go with what I used in my own game in case I keep following that along and I want to make sure all the rendering orders are right. So I'm just going to go with 450, and for the inventory canvas I use 200. Now I've actually got a note of all these sort orders in a Trello page online that I'm using for my other project, so I can like easily look at that page and see the sort order in ascending order of all my different canvases. But for now, that's fine. Just know that this has to have a higher number than that one. The new one has to have a higher order. Okay, let's go into the scene view so we can see the entire panel. Oh, the entire canvas, sorry. So we want to give it a background. So this background is just going to be an image that stretches, and it's going to be like a dimmed background. So we're going to go for UI image, and I'm going to just go and copy and paste the... oh, it's just 130 alpha. Okay, so go black, and then 130 is what I went for. And then put... here, hold Alt, and then click the bottom right one, and it stretches to scale to the screen. So when we drag an item out, it kind of pops up our little window here we're going to have, and then the background goes dim to indicate, like, this is important, you have to clear this before you can carry on playing the game. So we're going to call this background, why not? And then we want to have a panel on, like, this, so I'm going to put it here in the UI image. But we're going to make sure this is below the background. So if it's below it on the hierarchy, then it renders on top of it because it gets rendered afterwards. Just think like you render something, then you render something else. That thing that renders afterwards is on top. That's essentially how it works. So I'm just going to go take the same settings that I've used on my own game. So I'm going to put a 200 on the Y, the width of 400, and the height of 150. Okay. And I made it grey. So I'm just going to go copy that hex code and go shove that in here. So that's the grey I went for. It's up to you. That's if you want to follow me. I used 4F for the grey. Okay, and then now on this we're going to add some text. So I'm going to go into the image. I'm going to rename it destroy item panel. I'll keep my naming system, so panel underscore destroy item. Then over here it would be canvas underscore destroy item. Did I do background? Like, how did I do this? So over here I didn't really I'm going to do the renaming off camera. That's okay. I don't need to show you guys all that. So let's just add the text now. If we go to this panel and click UI Text Mesh Pro Text, it's using the same... I'm just going to use the default font for this. You can fiddle with fonts all you like. So this is basically going to say like, are you sure you wish to destroy? Then obviously it's going to say something, so like placeholder name. So you want this to fit to the thing, so we're going to put scale like so, and then you're going to say maybe you want 10 padding on either side. But actually, now that I think about it, this is going to be a bit different because we need to put buttons below it. So we don't want it to scale like this. We want it to scale like this. Let me just think. 10. Then we want let's just put these up here. We're going to go with 0 and 0.4, which is essentially 40%, and then 1. Yep, this is all fine. All the scales fine. The bottom should be, we'll go with 0. And then now we need to make sure the text actually like fits into here. So what I did was I put it on auto size, because obviously some items names are going to be longer or shorter than others. Let's put like a min of 0 and a max of 100. It doesn't matter. It's going to always stay between a similar range. Let's go center text. You can put it center flowing or top flowing. It's up to you. It doesn't really matter. And I think that's all the settings I did. And then we have to add the button. So we're going to have a yes button and a no button, essentially. So let's go rename this like are you sure text. Okay. For now at least. Then we also want to create a UI Text Mesh Pro button. And get rid of the UI sprite. Okay, so for the button, I used this hex code 262626, so I'm going to set that. And for the font, I'm going to go use the font I just used there, but maybe make it, maybe make the text white. Okay, Now for the button, we're gonna have to go position it. What we need to do is we need to go and set the anchors. So the button's min anchor is gonna be 0, 0. The max is gonna be 0.5, then 0.4, because we got 60% on the other one. We want, so you see these two line up here. That 0.4 snaps with this one, because the min y is 0.4 and our max y is 0.4, so they meet up. That's all right. Then we want to set some padding, so 10, 5, 5, 10 is what I went for. And then we're going to duplicate this button, I guess. And then this other button is going to be the cancel button. So I'm going to put the cancel button on the other side. So we're going to go, the min is 0.5, and the max y is 0, and this is 1 and 0.4. Yep, so that's okay. And then we just set 5, 5, 10, 10. So that's how it looks now. I hope you're okay with that. That's the design I've gone for. You can do whatever you like. This is going to be the yes button or the confirm button. So I'm just going to put like yes button or confirm button. And then obviously for the text, you would just put like confirm button text. Yeah, after I end this video, I'm going to rename stuff before I push it to GitHub, so it's all like consistent. And this is going to be the cancel button, so cancel button and the cancel button text. All right. I don't actually mind about. Actually, no. We want to manually set the cancel button in the text. Wait, I actually wish to destroy. Should I put confirm? Yeah, confirm and cancel. Put whatever text you want there. So the point is, we now want to pop this up and replace this. Replace this with the name of the item we want to destroy. Okay, that's the goal. And then when we want to link it up so that when we press confirm, a piece of code handles destroying the item based on what was dragged out. Okay, so now we need to essentially write the bit of code here that'll handle the destroying, and then we need to reference that from our inventory slots. Now we can have that hard reference there because this is all under the same root game object, the same prefab. This is always going to exist as long as this always exists. The canvas for the destroy items is going to exist so long as the inventory exists. So we're going to want to have some code that we wrote last time trigger the item destroyer activating essentially with the slot that we dragged out, which will work pretty well. So now let's just go and create a new script. So I'm just going to call it item destroyer. So c.script item destroyer. Let that compile and open it up in Visual Studio, and I'll see you there. Okay, so what does an item destroyer do? Well, first of all, it's going to need reference to the inventory, obviously, to be able to delete items. So we need reference to the inventory. But for that, we're going to need to import the inventories namespace, at least if you're following the way I've done it. And we'll just call this the inventory, okay? And then below that, we'll also need reference to the text on the screen so that we can set it to say, are you sure you wish to destroy this item? So we're going to say, we need reference to a text mesh pro UGUI, which is just how it is for text mesh pro. And we're just going to call it like, are you sure text? Because that's just what I've gone with, it makes sense. And we're also going to need to have a private variable for storing an integer called slot index, which will be, well, 0 by default. But what happens is, when you drag an item out your inventory, we need to store what position it's in rather than what item it is. And it might seem a bit weird for that, but it's because, let's say you drag out, let's say you have 2 stacks of the same item in different slots, right? Let's say you have an item there and an item there, and they're both the same thing, and you drag out this one here. And you store, this is a health potion. And then you click, yeah, I want to destroy a health potion. So it's like, all right, inventory, go destroy health potion. Then the problem is, it's going to loop for your inventory and then destroy the first one here, which it looks weird. And also, maybe you want to destroy a single stack of something if you've already got a stack of 100. You end up accidentally destroying the stack of 100. So you need to store where it is in your inventory, not what it is in your inventory. Hope that makes sense. And then also, like, whenever we disable this, so like on disable, just, this isn't necessary, but I'm going to set slot index to -1. So -1 is what programmers usually use as like like, not an error, but essentially if you have like an enum and you've got all your values in your enum, sometimes you might have like a none, and the none would be -1. It's just or you might return -1 from a function if for example, something went wrong. Like that's how it works really. Public void activate. So we're going to want to activate the item destroyer when we drag an item out. So we want to know, alright, so what's the item, right? Because we want to know what to say it is on the screen. We also want to know what slot index it is. So slot index. So we're going to say, well, this dot slot index is the slot index of the item we're trying to destroy. So we've cached that. We're going to set the are you sure text to equal are you sure you wish to destroy item dot colored name. So that's from one of the previous videos if you remember. And then, well, we'll put a question mark. We haven't actually done the coloring of the name yet because I haven't imported the rarity stuff. I might do that in its own video, but I've covered it in the past. I'm pretty sure I covered it in something. Let me know if I have covered it, if you guys remember. If I haven't, then I can do it again in here and just show you how to do that. I'll do that in its own video with displaying the when you hover over an item on the screen, because I did that in its own video as well, so I want to kind of pull that into this series. That independent tutorial can be used in this series to help it, rather than redoing it all again for no reason. And yeah, obviously then once we've set the text, we don't want that like that. We then want to enable this game object, right? We want to display it. But then what about when we destroy the item? So this is the function we'll call from the button that says yes or confirm. So when we say yes or confirm, we'll say, all right, well, inventory dot item container dot remove at. That's why we remove at slot index. All right, so we're going to say, yeah, go inventory remove at that slot. And then we want to disable ourselves, so dot set active false. Okay? So that's all this needs to know. It needs to say, be told an item, and then say, all right, are you sure you want to destroy that item? And then when we press yes, we're going to just remove at the slot in the inventory that we've cached here, the slot index. Okay? That's that item, or that script, sorry. And if we go back to our inventory item drag handler, you know here I put, well, if when we release, we're not hovering anything, if our hovered count is 0, we want to destroy or drop the item. So this is where we're actually going to do that. So we want to say here, because our item slot, if we say like item slot UI the item slot or slot item, it's of type hotbar item. But we know for the inventory item drag handler, it's actually of type inventory item. It's not just a hotbar item generalized, it's more specifically an inventory item. So we can say, we want to cache an inventory slot called like this slot, is our item slot UI as an inventory slot. So we're going to treat it as an inventory slot. Obviously that would be null if it couldn't be that type, but it is going to be that type, so it's fine. And then we're going to say item destroyer, which we don't have reference to, so we actually want to pull that in at the top. We want to say serialize field, serialize field. It's because I haven't got the Unity engine import. Private item destroyer that we just wrote. Okay, so the item destroyer. We want to tell it, so we're going to say item destroyer dot activate, so I want to activate it with this slot dot item slot dot item. You could also just pass through the item slot if you changed the other script to pass through the item slot. That allows you to tell it like how many you're destroying. Because actually, I might as well go with that. That'd probably make more sense. So we're going to pass through the item slot and this slot dot index, the slot index. Okay, that's going to tell me there's a problem, but it's fine. We're going to leave this script now. Go back to the item destroyer we just wrote, item destroyer, and tell it to take in a slot, like an item slot. Okay, so if I go back to, sorry, let's just go back to the drag handler. So I'm passing through the item slot. So what does a inventory slot have? It has I don't think that was even necessary, was it? Because if we just said item slot UI, actually no, sorry, because I item slots are different for the different things. Because, for example, an item slot has like a item and a quantity, but when you have an ability system, if you have like a slot, it wouldn't have a quantity, for example. It would just have the slot thing, its ability or its spell or whatever. So this is fine. This is actually good. We want to tell the item destroyer to take in. Where am I looking? An item slot. So the other script's happy now. You see, it says happy. It's gonna take that in. But we want to now tell it to take the item slot .item.colored name. Now maybe you want to also, so we want to say, are you sure you wish to destroy like 3 of those? So maybe like 3x. So maybe I could put, are you wish to destroy item slot dot quantity x. You can change how this looks on the UI, but we're basically saying, oh, you wish to destroy 3x potion, whatever. Okay. Now we can just do the linking up, and then we should be done. So all we need to do is we need to go to the canvas and drop on the item destroyer, reference the inventory, which we have somewhere. Let me just lock that panel and go find it. Game data inventory. We also want to reference the text, so are you sure text, drag that in. And then we want to tell the confirm button, on click, to drag in the canvas for destroy item. Tell the item destroyer to destroy when we press the confirm button. And then when we press cancel, we just want to tell the canvas to set its game object inactive. So we're gonna destroy the canvas, not destroy, but disable it. Sorry. So those buttons are linked up. That's all good. Now the final thing to do is go to our slots. So let's make the let's go to prefabs. Let's make the whole inventory a prefab. Okay. Then inside the inventory prefab, we can tell these slots to reference, or the icons, I guess, to reference this item destroyer. Okay. So if I would say drag in the destroy item canvas here, and then I press apply all, it should, if I go to this next one. No, it only does it on there. Okay, so I have to just really go item slot, item icon, shift select them all, press X. Now that they are all selected, so I can drag in this canvas to there. So now if I just go pick like this random one over here, item icon, it's got it. Because that's all done inside the prefab, it's all saved. If I press cancel, let's just see if this all works. Let's go to the inventory, and wherever the inventory is down here, inventory. Use the thing I made last time to, for example, add test. Move it around, drag it out. Are you sure you wish to destroy 3x health potion? Confirm, and it goes away. And obviously I can put in like 100 to add. It fills it up anyway. If I drag out this slot here and press confirm, it destroys that slot. If I just said destroy, if I just stored the item and instead just destroy that item, it would go to the first slot and destroy that, you know. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. You can expand upon this yourself. I'm going to upload this all to GitHub so you all have access to it. Check out my social media below if you haven't already. Leave a sub if you haven't already. Check out my Twitch stream, all of the above. But apart from that, thanks for watching and goodbye.